than on actually educating the voters, because they feel that if you canvass for votes, they vote for you, not necessarily based on important indices in terms of what you have done so far, if you have been in office, and what you're going to do, or in terms of your manifesto, but simply the mere fact that they use other means to canvass for votes, tell the public that, oh, because because also, if you look at our elections, there's also this issue of identity politics and other factors that come into other extraneous factors that shouldn't actually be the driving force for voting, that come into account when voters want to vote. So politicians, come out basing on these things, focusing on this messaging to the voters, instead of laying emphasis on the actual points relevant for voter education. For instance, how do voters conduct themselves on election day? What are the issues? What are the issues that are important for the voters, to take note of in terms of knowing what the electoral system benefits, what they can benefit from the electoral system and from the political system in general. So you find that political parties do not really want to do this. Then there's also the point of the issue of funding. Now, the people who fund political parties, because the system of funding of political parties is not through general contributions as it ought to be, there are individuals, usually individuals, big individuals who sponsor political parties, who fund political parties. And when they put their money out, what they put their money out is for simply getting the votes of the voter, and not exactly letting the voter understand the electoral system, understand his role in the electoral process, because possibly the politician also thinks that if these voters are well informed, they may take a different decision in terms of voting. So I think that is part of the reasons why the political parties do not take this function very seriously. Then again, it is not only the political parties that should do voter education. If you look at the various laws and even the constitution. Now, you will also have the INEC as a body that should also do voter education. I don't know how much INEC of that INEC does. Then you also have the National Orientation Agency, which is an agency of government for national orientation, and you would expect that voter education, it should be one of the things they focus on. But I do not think that so far that the National Orientation Agency has actually taken this
Mr. Abia, I know that you're making a very critical point. Please just allow us to put you on hold.
So there are, first of all,
Mr. Abia, just a minute. We'll let you continue your thoughts in just a moment. We need to get an update from the field. We understand that counting and sorting sorting and counting rather has started in some polling units. We want to bring in our senior correspondent, Solomon Ajuziogu, who is live for us, to just give us update. Solomon, where this election in some polling units, we understand, is now at the critical stage where you find that the sticking points begin to come up, and politicians decide whether they want to pursue litigation or not. Just give us update as to the counting or sorting and counting process where you are.
So I'm in Ekwuolobia, one ward at Paragon Pharmacy, polling unit 032 in Aguata local government area of Anambra State. This is a funny polling unit of just 58 registered voters, and voting has ended. Counting and sorting and the verification of results by the party agents is going on at the moment. You can see by the side there some of the party agents signing the documents to show that they witnessed the voting, the counting, and all of it. It's amazing that you have a polling unit in a place like this, the Ekwuolobia one. We were also at the Ekwuolobia 2, where you have 2 polling units. One had 65 registered voters, and the one beside it polling unit 003 had over 1,400 registered voters, while the other one has just 65. And we wonder what disparity in number that represents. But as it is, the 58 registered voters, if all of them voted here, the voting has ended. The counting, sorting and counting has also ended, and the party agents are taking the record of the result. If you would allow me, I'd like to call on the presiding officer if he will be willing to talk with us to tell us how it went here. Presiding officer, well, I guess he has, he just took a walk, but once he comes here now, I will be able to talk with him. But what has happened here is that the party agents appear to be satisfied here in Ekwuolobia, one ward, Paragon Pharmacy, polling unit 032, where 58 registered voters have cast the ballot. I would have loved to have him tell us if it was the entire 58 of them that voted here. But it's one of those polling units where you have a very small number of people, when in some other places, polling unit 003 in Ekwuolobia 2, that has 1,400, and the one in Ajuziogu in polling unit 002, where the governor voted, that has more than 900 persons. We understand that in INEX system, once you have more than 500 registered voters in a place, there is always this attempt to split it to give them more polling units in those places. Well, the presiding officer is here, who oversaw the voting here. Please come closer. Who oversaw the voting here in Ekwuolobia 1, polling unit 032. Can we get to meet you? Yeah. So tell us, registered voters here 58. So tell us the mechanics of the voting here. Yeah.
Okay, the voting here was very nice, smooth, and entertaining. We had 58 registered voters. The turnout was very poor. This time that those who registered voters come and vote. At the end of the day, we had 1 registered voters and registered voters out of 58. So we encourage people to come out to vote as next. That's all for now.
So you've heard it from what you said, the horse's mouth, the presiding officer here, who has just told us 58 registered voters, only 31 accredited to vote. Well, that's more than 50% of the registered voters. So if you take a sample here, then you say that there was more than 50% turnout at this polling unit, even though you think it is low.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, Solomon, from what you've observed, how would you assess the professionalism and the composure of the polling and collation officers on duty?
Well, you have seen the polling officer, the presiding officer here. He's been very professional. He put everybody in line. Before I came on to talk with you, you saw the visuals that were transmitted as he took time after voting. He waited till it was 2:30. Before it was 2:30, he announced to the people that when it is 2:30, voting will close, and then sorting and counting will begin. He did exactly the same thing he told them even before it was 2:30. And when 2:30 came, he began that. He began counting, he began sorting, he began counting, and then he showed everything. When some of the agents tried to get ahead of themselves to try to snap, he said, no, verification of the result has not been concluded. And then he took his time to get all of them to sign, to stamp the result, to sign it before he eventually allowed them to have their own copy of it and then to snap it.
And Solomon, speak to us about, because again, the party agents are a major part of this election. One of the issues we've heard over and over again is that parties, for example, you have 16 candidates, but in some polling units, you will not have up to representative from 5 political parties. And then they take some of these results to the collation center or even to court in a place where they did not have party agents. First of all, speak to us about how many party agents are present in that polling unit. And then I know you started talking about it, the conduct of these party agents.
Well, the thing is, you saw the picture of the party agents signing. I would ask the presiding officer, were all the party agents for the 16 parties present here, or how many of them were here to sign?
Okay, we have few party agents present, those who were in the field, we have the Labour Party, we have the YPP, we have the ABDA, and we have the APC.
I thought
few ones that were present at the during time of the election.
I thought you had also the ADC candidate, even though they did not score a vote here. Yeah. Who also signed. Right. So you had that. So you had that. Not all the parties presented agents here. They probably know where they will do well and where they will not do well. So they will choose the battles they want to fight. But the party agents, you have just had the names of the parties that were here who signed the document to authenticate the result of the votes that have been cast here in Ekwuolobia, one ward, polling unit 00032 in front of Paragon Pharmacy here in Ekwuolobia, Agwata local government of Anambra State.
Okay, now just to add a little bit to what Precious said, how are the party agents and the observers, how are they reacting to the conduct of the counting and the sorting process? Do you think they look satisfied or maybe skeptical?
Well, you saw it on TV. They say pictures don't lie. This is not just a picture. This was audio-visual. You saw the counting. You saw the agents signing. Nobody refused to sign, including the other party that seemed to have not scored anything. He signed because he witnessed the voting. And because he registered to be one of the agents representing a political party here, what did he do? He had to sign to authenticate, to validate the result. They did not protest. They were even very, they assisted the presiding officer to do what he needed to do. If they feel he was going out of line, they will say, no, we don't want that. And then the presiding officer will also tell them, okay, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. I think that there is a general resolve by the Anambra that these votes must hold. It must hold peacefully. It must be free and fair. So far, it's been free. It's been fair. If there are infractions, we'll get to know in some places. If there are, we'll get to know when the final counts come in. But here in polling unit 032, in Ekwuolobia, one ward, in front of Paragon Pharmacy, in Agwata local government area of Anambra State, voting has concluded. 58 registered voters there, 31 of them are accredited to vote. They've been counted. We now know who won in this ward or in this polling unit.
All right, thank you so much, Solomon, our serial correspondent live for us. I like the way he's calling the Ekwuolobia.
Even though he's
no, he's, I mean, the 001, 002 polling unit. Thank you so much, Solomon. All right, we'll take a break now. We'll still have our guests, so we'll let Mr. Abia conclude his thought when we return. And then we'll just look at critically some of the things that Solomon said, which are quite critical. 65 or 68 registered voters, 31 showed up. We'll get more on that in just a moment. Stay with us, everyone.
You are jogging? Since when? Freshio, a good source of vitamins A, B6, B12, D, and zinc that keeps you active and refreshed on the go.
You're so full of life these days, Ike. Since when?
Hey, it's Friday!
Party tonight?
After this long day of work, and you too, since when?
Freshio, wholesome goodness every day. Grab your bottle now.
We've got news. Freshio Kids Pack is back with a straw hole. The world needs moms. With a splash of golden terra oil, a mom can transform a frown into a smile. Change no thanks into yes please. Resolve family feuds without blowing a whistle. Providing tasty family meals is all that matters. Where there are moms, there is love. Golden Terra Oil. Pour pure love.
Ike, You are jogging since when?
Freshio, a good source of vitamins A, B6, B12, D, and zinc that keeps you active and refreshed on the go.
You're so full of life these days, Ike. Since when?
Hey, it's Friday.
Party tonight?
After this long day of work, and you too, since when?
Freshio, wholesome goodness every day. Grab your bottle now.
We've got news. Freshio Kids Pack is back with a straw hole.
Get ready to step into the heartbeat of your city like never before. Welcome to Events Diary, where every moment is a celebration. From the electric energy of Owambe extravaganza, to the richness of our culture, to the sophistication of corporate gatherings, Events Diary is your VIP pass to the hottest gatherings in Nigeria. And guess what? I'll be your guide, your style icon. Each week, join me as I transform from traditional chic to corporate sleek. Whether it's a birthday bash or a high-profile gala, you won't just see it. You'll feel like you're right there with me. Aww. From meetings to evening soirees, I'll be there. Or to the trendiest street festivals or to music concerts, Events Diary has something for everyone. So join me as we explore the vibrant tapestry of Nigerian scene, one event at a time.
From Lagos to the world, TVC Communications has been nominated for its very first international award, the prestigious AIB. It's a recognition of our voice, vision, innovation, and relentless drive to push beyond boundaries. TVC Communications, Nigerian excellence on the world stage.
I'm Nifemi Oguntoye, news anchor with TVC News.
My day is usually busy and it's difficult keeping up with breaking news stories, trending stories, business news, stock exchange and what have you. But with TVC News on WhatsApp, I'm able to catch up with all the breaking news, real-time updates and trending stories on the go, right on my phone, no matter where I am. It's quick, easy and always on. And hey, you can join us by scanning the QR code or using the link on our X and Instagram. Why wait? Come to the side of news that keeps you ahead. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Yaa Ashantewa was born on 17th October 1814 Bisiase, present-day Ghana. The daughter of Kwaku Ampoma and Atapo, her brother Afrani Panin became the chief of Edueso, a nearby community. After a childhood without incident, she cultivated crops on the land around Boankra. She entered a polygamous marriage with a man from Kumasi, with whom she had a daughter. She was appointed by her brother, Nana Akwasi Afrani Opese, ruler of Edueso. When her brother died in 1894, Yaa Ashantewa used her right as Queen Mother to nominate her own grandson as Ejisuhene, when the British exiled her grandson to the Seychelles in 1896. Along with the King of Ashanti Prempeh I and other members of the Ashanti government, Yaa Ashantewa became the regent of the Jisu Juaben district in the Ashanti Empire, now part of modern-day Ghana. After the exile of Prempeh I, Old Coast, Frederick Hodgson demanded the golden stool, the symbol of the Ashanti nation. There was a disagreement among the members of the Ashanti government at Kumasi on how to go about this. In 1900, she led the Ashanti War, also known as the War of the Golden Stool, against the British Empire. The Ashanti-British War of the Golden Stool, also known as the Yaa Ashantewa War, was led by Queen Mother Nana Yaa Ashantewa, with a queen and a war leader. Nana Yaa Ashantewa died in exile at the Seychelles on 17th October 1921.
All right, thanks everyone for staying with us on Anambra Decides on TVC News as we continue our live coverage of the Anambra governorship election, where we have 16 candidates, 14 of them male and 2 females. We've been monitoring that election. We have reporters on the field bringing us updates. In some polling units at this moment, we have sorting and counting already ongoing. We also have a reporter live for us in the situation room there. Anytime, any moment, we'll know that the observers will bring, or CSOs will bring in their preliminary report. Also, we have 2 guests standing by for us, both of them, one in our Abuja studio, the other on Zoom. We have lawyer Ajuziogu and a CSO himself, Mr. Ekwuolobia. Thank you both for standing by for us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so Mr. Abia, I did promise. I don't know if you want to continue without your thoughts, so you can land on it, and then we can just look critically.
Let me just round up.
All right, round up, please.
Let me just round up. Yes. So it is important that we note that both the political parties and INEC have that constitutional role of voter education, and also by extension, based on the mandate of the National Orientation Agency, they also have that role. Then also the civil society also has that role. But you will find out that amongst all these bodies mentioned is usually the civil society organizations that actually perform this task of voter education. So it is important that all these other bodies, take this responsibility more seriously going forward.
All right, let's bring in Mr. Ekwuolobia to the conversation now. We're listening to our senior correspondent there, Solomon, and he mentioned something that I thought was quite critical. And just recently in Delta State, we've heard about the delineation exercise of INEC and how it is causing some level of chaos. And he said that in one polling unit, you have over 1,000 registered voters. In another, maybe just about, I think he said 68. And I'm wondering, does that speak to the delineation exercise of INEC, and is it time to review it?
No, I think delineation is different. INEC created additional polling units. Remember that voting points were eliminated. What used to happen was that INEC used to create different voting points. So in the allocation of voters to the new polling units, there is some imbalance. I think what they need to do is to review that, how voters were then distributed to the different, the additional over 50,000 additional polling units, which was indeed a very difficult thing to do before, which the commission was able to pull through before 2023 or before 2019 election. So it's not, the delineation is a different kettle of fish, but this is just the consequence of the creation of new polling units and how voters were then distributed to those polling units. Having said that, I just want to make a little point about the political parties and the process that we are going into now. The preliminary reports are already showing that the ABGA in the election has 98% polling agents in the polling, 98% of polling agents in the polling units in Anambra State. The APC has just a little over 80% polling agents, and then the Labour Party has 43%, while the others have and this has consequences, because we continue to make this point about if you want to participate in this election, results are already being mined from polling units. And if results are mined from polling units, a very serious political party should have its own result viewing portal, which it can make available to journalists and even civil society observers and other international observers that are around to say, come to our own situation room as a political party, look at what our agents are bringing. And then when eventually the collation, the general collation is going on, you can, on the basis of what you have from your own collated results. But if you have 43% party agents throughout the states, and you have, you can't really, in all honesty, be contesting results that in a place where you don't have party agents. So I think that we should reinforce this point about the need for political parties to invest in making sure that members of their political parties participate as agents to be able to oversee, because the agents are representatives of the candidates in the polling unit. And if they are able to mine results from that polling unit, even before results are called, returns are made on the election, they should be able to. And that's what happens in other places. People talk about Ghana. It is the strength of the political parties that makes it easy for political candidates to be able to congratulate their opponents, because before even the close of polls, their own situation room and their party agents have already shown them how they are doing in the election. But that's not what we currently have here.
Okay, I like the fact that you talked about party agents, because according to our senior reporter, he said that not all the party agents showed up at the collation center. Now, I want to ask, political parties that can't fund party agents, should we still call that a political party?
Well, I think my colleague Abiadia talked about the fact that we expect political parties not to be funded by heavy deep pockets or individuals, because once an individual funds the party or individuals fund the party, they control it. If you have a situation in which you have people paying, making contributions to the party or paying party dues, then you are able to have a nominal role of the members of your party. As we speak today, one of the big challenges of our political parties is that you don't even know who is a member. The fluidity of movement from one party to the other, the activation of waiver makes it difficult for you to know. You can be in this party in the morning and in the evening you have gone to another party. And then even in the communities, even you that is speaking now, if you go to your village, it is possible that your name is in a party register, and you have never registered there, and you may even have a party card. So the fluidity and the lack of organization of our political parties in the strict sense of what a political party should do and how it should function is part of the diminishing factors for our electoral process.
And back to Mr. Abia, in this issue of having political party agents rather in polling units, I'm wondering, because some would say, look, it's an issue of funding, but for others, I know analysts like yourself have come up with the term of contender pretenders in terms of candidates. Is it also probably because they know, well, we're just here just to make a name for ourselves and not necessarily to win this election, and so let's not spend so much money on feeding agents? And how should INEC, because when you look at a party who is not consistently feeding party agents in polling units, shouldn't INEC begin to react to that in terms of using that as a yardstick to deregister political parties?
Okay, well, yes, you'll find that in almost every election, you'll find that there are people who are serious contenders and people who are not probably in the public space, who do not so much seem to be serious contenders. But how do you determine whether someone is actually in real, for a fact that someone is not really interested in the process as much? Because there may be a number of issues that might actually lead to, which is not, we are not saying it's justifiable, but there may be a number of issues that will lead to political candidates not necessarily having as much agents at the polling units. So these varied issues, you can't necessarily tie it for a fact to seriousness or non-seriousness. It could be the fact of, we've mentioned funding. There could also be, some logistical issues. There could also be issue of party loyalty, because in some instances you might have funded agents to go there, but they saw some higher bidder, and then they do some other things. So there are a number of factors. I do not think that it is an issue for INEC to now deregister political parties. Of course, the fact that political parties do not, if they do not do their job well, and the candidates do not do their job well, of course it will affect their election result, because you might find them not coming up tops in the elections. So now that will now become the ground for INEC to deregister if they do not meet the required numbers of seats, for them to stay as a political party. Then that will now become a reason for INEC to deregister based on the amendment, to the Constitution.
Sorry, I just want to follow up with Mr. Jimmy Abia, because I know you are a lawyer. Because I would think that this is one of the reasons we have very frivolous cases, election cases in court, where you have candidates who are contesting results from polling units where they did not even have party agents. In terms of the legal aspect of this, how should it also be handled?
Oh, well, the election, when it comes to court, now this is where it's also important that parties do their jobs well, because the results which are collated, which are also given to, because these party agents are meant to collect a copy of the result sheet at those units, and it will also form a basis for their election matter in court. It will also form part of the evidence for so that if they are coming to speak to an election, which they said, it has to be someone who witnessed it, so that it is not hearsay, someone who witnessed what happened there. So for instance, if you do not have a polling unit agent at that polling unit, how do you now speak to what happened at that polling unit? So it's important for political parties. I think a political party that does not do what it should do, for instance, in terms of having agents at the polling unit, has actually shortchanged itself. So it is something I think the parties on their own should be left to, bear the consequences. Because first of all, it will affect them in the result of the election. 2, it will affect any matter they are taking to court. Then 3, it could also lead to their deregistration. So it is something to, there are consequences for it already, which I think, the parties should bear for their dereliction of their responsibility.
All right, Mr. Ezewa, I'm going to be throwing that same question to you. Do you think political parties that can't fund party agents to monitor elections, do you think INEC should review their registration or maybe deregister them?
No, absolutely no for me. And the reason is simple. The fact that you don't have agents does not substantially affect the election in any material particular, as people like Abia will say. It does not affect it, because at the end of the day, it is for your own benefit that you collect the Form EC8A in case you want to proceed. But we have always creamed the indolence of the politicians, their inability to take their responsibility seriously. We paper over it, and what then happens is that at the end of the election, you see somebody who probably has less than 50% party agents in an election coming to say he's coming to claim his mandate. I think what needs to happen is that we will need to do perhaps what the Americans do in terms of litigation. When people come to court, we should be able to decide which one progresses further, so that at the end of the day, you don't start counting when people say, oh, the number of litigations in court has something to do with the quality of the election. It's, in many cases, sometimes some of even the litigations that you have in court are pre-election litigations. Most of the time, they do not have something substantially to do with the conduct of the election itself. And so if as your colleague there said, frivolous litigations that are coming on the basis of you're not preparing, but deregistration is a different matter. In fact, personally, I don't think INEC has any business registering political parties. I think it should set conditions for appearing on the ballot. If you fulfill certain conditions, you appear on the ballot. We need to expand the democratic space in a way that the right to be a political party is, as enshrined in the Constitution for freedom of assembly and association, be guaranteed. But if you now want to appear on the ballot, INEC can say this is what and what you need to be able to fulfill to do so.
Mr. Wango will also place you on hold because critical points you're making there. We've seen that in the national election and presidential election, and also Edo State election, where witnesses, you can have over 100 witnesses and only 2 of them are credible. We'll come back to that conversation. We want to get update from Solomon Ajuziogu, who is in another polling unit at the moment, to give us updates. Solomon, what more can you tell us at this moment? Has sorting accounting also started where you are?
Well, so we are at one of the mega polling, well, it seems mega to me because there are over 800 registered voters here inside a canopy of forest here at Ajuziogu. Ajuziogu Square here in Ekwuolobia 1 in Anambra State, here, Agwata local government, where the votes have been cast. The sorting and counting have also been held, and well, such a wonderful turnout it seems here. There are 2 polling units opposite each other here, and they've done all the counting. And when the counting was going on, it was some chorusing of the result of the counting here. In fact, if I'm sure you took that live. It would have been nice if we could play up the counting when it was going on, so that you see the excitement of the people here in Agwata local government. Of course, it's a home local government of the governor. This is Ekwuolobia 1. Of course, we also were at Ekwuolobia 2, where near St. Paul's Catholic Church, where we have 2 polling units. The disparity in number, where you had a polling unit with 1,485, and then another polling unit with just 65 or 58 registered voters. Here, you have over 800 registered voters, 819, I think, and the votes have come in. There are lorry loads, as it were. You had the counting the other time where a particular candidate scored up to 170. So for the people here, they seem happy. It only shows one result by MD Anambra, that they just wanted this vote to count. They voted freely, they voted fairly, it's been peaceful. All of the tension that preceded this election, all of the tension, we have not seen a manifestation of any of that tension, at least in this local government, Agwata local government. We've not seen it in Ethiopia, where the governor came to vote. We've not seen it in Ekwuolobia. And we have not seen it in any other place here. The people have voted, they are happy. Even the party agents here are sitting just beside each other. No tension. I saw them sharing words with some of the other people, and they were taunting each other. And they did not take offense, both the losing ones and the winning ones. So it's peaceful. The presiding officers are signing the result sheets now and waiting for them to also come and sign to authenticate the results, the outcomes that we have seen here today. But I must tell you here in Ajuziogu, Ekwuolobia 1, that is the polling unit here, Ajuziogu square. Well, it's a square, but I see trees and forests everywhere. And we are here enjoying ourselves voting, witnessing a peaceful voting here by the people of Anambra.
Solomon, I noticed that it was quite difficult for you to pronounce that name earlier. Well done, you tried. But I wanted to ask you, because Agwata is one of the flashpoints that was identified by the police, and you have mentioned in some of the polling units you've been to, is being quite peaceful. Talk to us about the deployment of security and the conduct. If this is a deployment of security that is responsible, or just the conduct of the residents?
Well, by the election rules, what you would have is that at least at the polling units where people are casting the ballot, at least 3 civil police officers. I don't want to, well, for emphasis, civil police officers, and there's a reason for that. You know, you have the mobile police force, you have the counterterrorism unit, you also have the Secret Service, the military-grade counterterrorism unit. We saw them parading everywhere, especially in Ajuziogu. Of course, you know, that's the home of the governor, and the governor always has security, you know. But here, maybe there's no need for it at all, because what you have here is a peaceful family gathering of the Anambra voting. Even though there are other parties here, everybody is peaceful. They've enjoyed it. It's a sport. You know, politics is also a level of sport. So where in Ajuziogu you had gun trucks, you had people with gun trucks and APCs and all of them, armored personnel carrier, I mean, there. Here, you just have the police officers watching, observing. They are having no trouble at all with anybody, and the people are happy counting and shouting as they count.
And also the party agents for the other parties, are they satisfied with the conduct of the election?
Well, about satisfaction, we'll have to wait for the signing of the papers. Once the party agents sign the papers for the results, it shows they are satisfied. In any case, there has been no protest. There has been no protest of any kind as they stand up now to try to sign to authenticate this result. They are willing to sign because they have seen that it's been open, it's been free, and it seems it's been fair for them. It's a sport. Somebody has to win. Someone, well, I wouldn't say lose, but someone has to win this contest. And it seems someone has won the contest in this place. The parties seem satisfied as their agents are sitting calmly, quietly, acknowledging what has transpired here in Ajuziogu, Ekwuolobia 1 polling units in Agwata local government of Anambra State.
And finally, before I let you go, were there reports of vote buying or anything of sorts?
Vote buying. From the faces that I see here. Now, we are in the governor's local government. Does he need to incentivize them in terms of having to buy their vote when he is their son? Does anybody need to incentivize anybody with any corrupt practice? Yeah, it's been an open contest, I must tell you. Maybe in other local governments, we can then begin to get the feedback from those places. But from the report we have seen, I think that the Anambra have beat all expectations about this election. All the narratives about tension and about problems, I have not seen anyone on my way to this place from Oka, passing through Anambra, going through all the streets, all the villages, and getting all the way to Ajuziogu. And you know, sometimes people come to the east and they're like, oh, the express road will pass through the forest, and you don't know what can happen to you. But you see, for me here, it's been a wonderful thing. The only thing I have about maybe the Anambra have to do a little more about, one, information management around anything they do. I think that I'll score them a bit low on information management. And then the other thing is that I think there is everybody here who wants to show that he's just somebody or something, you know, or something. But on the ballot here, maybe what they need to do more is to prove Nigerians wrong. 4 years ago, only 10% of registered voters in Anambra turned up. A state that has produced a vice president in this country before, a state that has produced speaker of the federal government, a state that has produced Senate president of the federal government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I think that the people of Anambra need to turn out more to vote. So from the ones we have seen so far, at Ekwuolobia 1, Paragon Pharmacy, 032 polling unit, 58 registered voters, 31 turned out to vote. You might say that that is close, but that is over 50%. So if you are doing the measurement here, well, it seems I do not know yet what the total turnout here has been, but we will hear from the presiding officers when they begin to announce the result, because they have to announce that when they are declaring the result. And we will wait on them to do that, to know the total number of accredited voters here as against the 819, I think, of registered voters in this polling unit.
All right, thank you so much, Solomon. We will let you continue your tour of Ekwuolobia, Iswafia.